Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. We have so much to unpack on the show. You know, we give you nothing but the absolute best. We saw some interesting games from the English Premier League to the Serie A, the Spanish La Liga, and of course, the French League 1. And back home, Remo Stars, Rangers, put themselves in a very good position to qualify to the next stage of the CAF Champions League. While for El Kanemi Warriors, they live to fight another day. All of this and much more on the show today. But hey, you know what? Edwin doesn't do it alone. I do it in company of David. But first, let's go on the break. When I come back, I'll be introducing David, and together we're going to give you all that we have in store on today's show. It is Sports Pizza. Don't change the channel. Welcome back to the show. It is still Sports Pizza, and with me on set today is always Abe David. David, what's up? How you doing?
Edwin, I'm good. Pleasure to be here as always. I don't remember how this feeling is to see your team actually being good. You know, it's the miracle Arteta has done at Arsenal. You can now go into every season expecting to be good. Wonderful times ahead.
Okay, before we get into all of your Arsenal and all that, let's start from the home scene. The CAF Champions League. The last time a Nigerian club was in the group stage of the CAF Champions League was Lobby Stars in 2019. Remo Stars, Enugu Rangers have started their journey, a journey that will see them go through some very tough qualifiers. For Remo Stars, there were 2-1 victors against their Moroccan counterparts, FAR Rabat. What did you make of it? A scoreline? I thought going to Morocco, you need a healthy lead, but hey, a win is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. They will take what they can get. I mean, when the game started and they got an early goal from their captain, Nduka Victor, I thought, oh, this was going to be maybe a platform for them to get more, but they struggled, they toiled throughout the course of the game. Fine, they didn't give Rabat much chances, but the chance they got, they scored, and then luckily for them, they got that very important winner. So 2-1, a scoreline that they can take to the second leg, hopefully try to get another positive result. But you know, we know with these North African teams, we know how difficult it is going on their home tour. But hopefully, Remo Stars will be able to build on this comfortable victory. And
for Rangers, even though they were the away team, the game was played at the Gosul Akpabio Stadium, AS Zilimaju of Comoros, where the home side, for those who don't know or you're wondering why Zilimaju played their home game at the Gosul Akpabio Stadium, this tiny club from Comoros Island don't have a stadium that will prosecute CAF level competition. That is why they had to choose the Gosul Akpabio Stadium as their home ground. And also, it's going to cut costs for them. But Enugu Rangers got the job done, David. 1-0 win. I expect them to coast through to the next round.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this tie has been gift wrapped for them. You know, when you are playing the two legs at home on your own turf, you know, this 1-0 victory. Second leg, you expect them to finish off the job. See how they'll go now into the next round of the qualification.
And in the CAF Confederations Cup, David, El Kanemi Warriors were held at home by Benonio's side, Dutch Day FC. They trailed, they got back into it, but what do you think? What are the chances of El Kanemi Warriors?
Yeah, right from when they got the qualification by winning the President's Federations Cup, I felt it would be a tough terrain for them. You know, this is probably the first time they've been on the continent in a long time. So I think it's going to be very difficult. But I think that kind of result, 1-1, well, confidence boosting because they were trailing for so long in the game and they got a very late equalizer. Hopefully they can build on that, go to Benin Republic in the next leg and try to get a positive result and the next round. But I don't see them making it all the way.
Just a reminder, David, that for CAF, the away goal rule exists. So El Kanemi Warriors must ensure that they score at least one goal away from home and try not to concede more than one to keep the tie balance within 90 minutes. We'll keep our eyes on proceedings from the CAF club competitions. Before we go on our first break, David, the NBA starts on the 22nd of October. The fixtures are out for the Boston Celtics. They'll kick off the campaign against the New York Knicks. Their rings will be presented to them. I'm excited, looking forward to another thrilling NBA season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw, Boston Celtics, how they ended last last season as champions. So I think this season everything is primed. And the US team coming off the back of coming off the back of an Olympic
world champions, Olympic champions,
so there's going to be a lot
stuff.
Of it's another season to be excited for. Looking forward to it.
We'll keep you updated on the latest proceedings from the NBA. A couple of clubs are still trading 1 or 2 players. Everyone gearing up for another grueling but thrilling NBA 2024-2025 season. Now that the dust has settled from the Olympics, let us talk about Andy Murray, David. We announced that he was going to retire after the Olympics, but we didn't have time to talk about it because we're heavily invested in the Olympics. Now that the Olympics is over, what did you make of Andy Murray's career? 3 Grand Slam singles titles, multiple ATP titles, gold medalists at the Olympics.
I mean, a lot of people would say, he could have achieved even more, but with the talent he has and the guys he was competing in most of his generation, I think it would have been difficult for him. I think he made the very best of what he was able to, or he was offered. And I think, for somebody who grew up watching Rafael Nadal, watching Novak Djokovic, and watching Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, so I think now seeing them retiring one by one, I think this new generation really have a lot of big shoes to live up. And for Andy Murray, Olympic gold, and so many, about 3-4 Grand Slam titles. So I think how many players can actually point to Grand Slam titles in their career? For him to be able to point to in an era of, Novak Djokovic, of Rafael Nadal, and, Roger Federer, I think it's a good one. He has had a good career for himself, even though injuries, but successful as a whole. Yeah,
successful for Sir Andy Murray. Yes, you must add the Sir, when you talk about Andy Murray. Over 40 ATP singles titles. He won 3 Grand Slam singles titles, twice Wimbledon, and that reaction when he won Wimbledon became the first British guy to win it in ages. You could see that relief on his face. Like you said, injuries in the final chapter of his career, but hey, nothing is going to touch the fantastic career of Sir Andy Murray. From us, take a bow. Let's go on this break. When we come back, we'll switch focus back to football. And where do we start? We start from the home of football, even though the debate will keep on raging. Is it England? Is it Spain? Is it Italy? Where's the home of football? It's none of our business, but the Premier League, the Serie A, the Spanish La Liga is back. Welcome back to the second half of the show. Edwin and David still in the building. Remember to give us a follow. The social media handles are showing on your screen. David, let's start with the English Premier League. Chelsea versus Manchester City. That is our first point of call. Erling Haaland, 91 goals in 100 games for Manchester City. Former Chelsea boy Mateo Kovacic with the second. For City, it was supposed to be a test of how well they're going to start the season. Not a fully fit squad. Rodri missing. Kevin De Bruyne not fully fit. But they went to Stamford Bridge and made it at times look easy. For Chelsea, it's a case of what could have been. On another day with a prolific striker, the result would have been different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's testament to how far Guardiola has built this team, that even when they are not in the best of places, they can still be able to grind their results from matches like this. So I think, but for Chelsea, I think they can take some positives. You mentioned the negatives, the fact that they have a striker who cannot finish his chances as much. You give him his dinner, he fumbles it, and he needs probably 3 or 4 chances to score a goal, and you cannot
not score a goal, to hit the ball on target.
So that tells you how far they still have to go. Why they need to get a striker properly for this season. They need to actually make Maresca's system work. Then the familiar mistakes, we saw defensive lapses also that allowed Alan to score, allowed Kovacic to score. But I think they can take some positives. Maresca will hope that going forward, the squad will still get better and they will still be able to gel. Maybe a few more signings, but for Man City, same of the same. We expect them to still be the ones to beat this season again. For Arsenal and Wolves, at times it felt like maybe Arsenal could drop points, but that second goal from Bukayo Saka, who was magnificent on the day, gave Arsenal all 3 points. From the Arsenal game and the City game, who impressed you the most? Talking about the challenges. So I think it's Arsenal. I'm not saying this for sentimentalism, but I think this is testament to how far Arteta has brought this Arsenal team. The fact that in a game where they felt like they were really troubled, they only had 3 moments where they were actually troubled by Wolves. But when they needed to actually kill off the game, the opportunity came and they took it. So I think this is the difference between this Arsenal team and Arsenal teams of time past. An Arsenal team of yesteryears in that situation when Wolves were putting the pressure would have actually caved in, but they don't give much away, and then when their chances come, they take it. So I think for this season, I think they are primed for another good season.
All right, for the top 4 hopefuls, Liverpool in Arne Slot's first game, not the type of first half he wanted, but the second half, you could see the changes, the big players stepped up, the personality stepped up, and crucially, Jota starting in place of Darwin Núñez. You get a feeling that the more he scores, the difficult it is for Darwin Núñez to get back into the starting
Yeah,
line.
I think so. I think the problem with Jota has always been his availability. You know, his ability is not in doubt. He's one of the most clinical strikers. His goal record, goal per minute ratio is one of the best in the Premier League. Then with Salah still, you know, seems like he's invested in another good season. So I'm really happy for Arne Slot. At the beginning when he took the job, I felt, oh, this is another Dutch wannabe who wants to come to the Premier League. But over the preseason, I saw some signs, and then when the season started, in the game against Liverpool, they were troubled for the first 60 minutes of that game. But halftime, I think he made a key substitution. He shows that he's a manager who is ready to change things. You know, he removed Yara Kwanzaa and brought in Konate when he saw, you know, the reaction from his switch. And I think he's primed for a good season. I think Liverpool have done their job well to get a manager who can, you know, fit into their system and get the best out of their players.
There were also wins for Manchester United, new boy Joshua Zirkzee with that all-important goal. It was a late goal for Manchester United, who hopped and puffed for a very, very long time. And for Aston Villa, it's a Champions League season campaign, the first in over 40 years. Hey, but they got the job done away at a West Ham side who have big things going into the new season. Let's go to the Spanish La Liga. It was supposed to be a whitewash for Real Madrid and a hiding for Mallorca. But at the end of the day, Mallorca, the bogey team for Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think for those of us who believe league football is actually the true test of a team's strength and character, you know, fresh off the high of winning the Super Cup in Poland, coming back to Spain, flying out to Spain, you thought it would be another, you know, on the high of that. But I think going to places like Mallorca is why league football is one of the growing. You need to bring your A game, because you can't just expect to stroll up and, you know, get the result. And I think Carlo Ancelotti has a lot of work on his hands. You know, he has a star-studded attack. How to now make all of them work is where the problem is going to lie this season. And
the familiar partnership we saw at Bayern Munich, we've seen a glimpse of that. Robert Lewandowski and Hansi Flick, a brace for Robert Lewandowski. A tough start for Hansi Flick and Barcelona. Valencia got the goal, could have gotten a second, but that's a goal line clearance from Kubasi laid the foundation of what was to come. And were you impressed by what you saw from Hansi Flick's first official game as Barcelona's manager?
I'm impressed, no, but I think there's positives, a lot of positives. I think if you can get Lamine Yamal providing for Lewandowski, there will be a lot of opportunities for him to score. I think if you get Lewandowski firing, so this is a manager he has worked with, so he's going to get the best of him. But there's positives. It's going to work for the rest of the season to make this team really get better. So I think the job is there for him to do.
And in the Italian Serie A, Antonio Conte suffered a heavy loss on the second official game for Napoli. Remember, there was a Coppa Italia game where he had to go down to penalties. But this time around, no penalties to save him. More questions for Conte, more questions for Napoli.
Yeah, I think for Napoli, if Conte had any doubt about the scale of the job, Napoli had 4 managers over the course of last season. They had to change minds. So the job is really, you know, after what Spalletti did with that squad, winning the league in very unusual fashion, very dramatic fashion. They had one of the worst title defenses. And it was not just a fluke. There was something fundamentally wrong with that team. And I think Conte has come in now. He has a lot of work to do. He has to buckle down and get the best out of the team.
Genoa hosted Inter Milan, defending champions. Game ended 2-2. It was a dramatic finish to that game. We saw video assistant referees intervention. We saw sublime football. But all in all, you get a feeling that Inter Milan will grow into the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think because of how they won the league last season, a lot of it is expected of them. But I think we still saw the basics of Simeone Inzaghi's football. We saw how, you know, he likes his centre backs to go out wide. That's one of the weirdest things I've seen in football, when your centre backs are going out wide. But I think they'll grow into the season. They are still firm favourites for the league for me.
The games are coming thick and fast, David. Let's quickly run through some fixtures from Europe's top leagues coming up this weekend. In England, there's Brighton versus Manchester United. We have Manchester City versus Ipswich, and Aston Villa will host Arsenal. In the Italian Serie A, AC Milan, who will be away at Parma. There's Inter Milan, who will host Lecce. And of course, Udinese will host Lazio. In the Spanish La Liga, there's Barcelona versus Athletic Club Bilbao. Real Madrid will be at home to Valladolid. Espanyol will host Real Sociedad. And Atletico Madrid will host Girona. All right, that's the much we can take on the show today. I'm sure you had so much fun with us. We'll leave you with our video of the week. Do remember to give us a follow on our social media platforms. It is adios from me, Edwin Onyeboli. See you same time next week. And of course, David, thanks for being around once again.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Edwin. From David, it's goodbye.